drinks trolley has arrived. The David Jacobs Memorial Drinks Trolley. David, just
leave it there.
Leave it there. Thank you. Thanks, love.
That'd be great.
What are we choosing from the trolley as it goes past, Susie?
Well, I'm going to grab a nice glass of Vermentino, I think, because Nigel brought it in last Thursday, and it's delicious. So whatever one you want, you can have the Sting one that Nigel suggested, or just a nice glass of Vermentino. Why not?
All right, very good. Thank you very much. No, I can't remember what that tastes
like. It was the one by Sting.
Yeah,
really nice.
It was really tasty. It's nice and fresh and light and...
Yeah.
Thanks,
lovely.
Sting. We'll go with that one. Right, today's confession comes from George. Simon and team. Simon, my name is George. I just said that.
Yeah.
My confession starts in the late 1950s. And early 60s. Me, my mum and dad, and two older sisters lived in an old rented house, terrace house, in Chichester, West Sussex. Kate, my sister, was 2 years older than me, and Anne, my other sister, about 3 years older. So I was the youngest and the baby boy of the family. I think I was about 5 or 6 when this story happens. The house is a 2 up, 2 down, front room, back kitchen, also scullery off the kitchen, an outside toilet on the back of the house, built on the end of the scullery in the garden. I think a lot of your listeners will remember the dreaded outside loo. No light, a big water cistern on the back wall with a long chain that would freeze up in the winter. The door was open at the top and open at the bottom. Wind and rain, sometimes snow would blow in whilst you were sitting there. Also, it was a great place for spiders of all shapes and sizes to live. There was a slide bolt on the inside of the door, obviously to lock when you're in there. And Dad had put a bolt on the front of the door, on the outside, to lock at night and sometimes in the daytime to stop the wind blowing the door open and keep banging when not being used.
Yes.
Being the youngest and the baby of the family, my sisters had great fun dressing me up as a girl and calling me Susan. My sister Kate would also love to wind me up and tell me that I was adopted, that kind of thing.
Right.
This is
okay.
So this is kind of...
Yeah, it's the 50s.
Yes. It was time to get my revenge. Kate hated going to the outside loo, but she hated spiders even more. I had to check their bedroom at night and the outside loo before they would even use it, so I was useful. So the next time I used the loo, I found a lovely big spider with hairy legs and saved him in a matchbox. We had an old wooden shed at the bottom of the garden, so I hid the spider in the box in an old big jam jar, and I called the spider Susan. I tried feeding her cheese. It's obviously changed from he to her now, but anyway, who knows? I tried feeding her cheese and the occasional dead baby mouse, but she liked sugar lumps with a little bit of water on. Who knew? The time had come, so I would use the loo before Kate in the morning. I had to check it out before we went to school. I broke up a sugar lump and I left it by the side wall near the door frame. Mum and Dad had gone to work. I would go to school next, and Kate and Anne would leave about 10 minutes later and lock up. So I come out of the loo, shout upstairs to my sisters that I was finished and I'm going to school. I open and close the front door and then hid in the front room. Kate then comes running downstairs and out the back door and into the loo. I quickly followed her and I heard the bolt go inside the door. I then slid the outside bolt very slowly over so as not to make a noise but trap her inside, but only just enough to hold it locked. I quickly took the matchbox out of my pocket, took the matchbox sleeve off, and I put Susan the spider down in the open box by the side of the door frame. Susan the spider happily jumped out. I mean, we don't know. Happy about it. I know she's called Susan. And I picked up the box. I ran through the house and out of the front door, closing it without making a noise. I heard an almighty scream from the toilet just before closing the door. I raced all the way to school. I was late home that afternoon. I'd been to a mate's house to play. When I got home, my mum went ballistic, and Kate was still very, very upset. But I denied all knowledge of the incident and said I'd gone to school. And Anne, my older sister, confirmed that she'd heard me go out of the front door early because I made sure I slammed the door. Also, Anne said that Kate screamed till she came downstairs and opened the loo door for her. I did get away with it. Dad thought the outside loo door bolt was too loose and removed it. Kate was a bit better with me after that and didn't wind me up quite so much, but she did still blame me. I never did find Susan the spider after that. which is a sad end. Well, not a very sad end, because spiders go off and have a happy life. Simon the team, do I get forgiveness, please, for annoying my sister? A lot of this will depend on whether you have sisters or not, and where you are in the pecking order. But George would like forgiveness. Susie, what do you think?
Well, George, I just don't like what you've done here, because the outside loo is horrible enough. My nana had an outside loo, and I hated going to the toilet, and it was horrible. It was absolutely horrible, and I can't even imagine, especially if you didn't like spiders, that would be even worse. And I just think you were a bit mean, and locking her in there and then running away. She could have been there for hours.
Only slightly locked in, because it was just slightly across, so she couldn't come out.
Yeah, I still don't think that's very nice.
No?
So I'm not going to forgive you, George.
A brother from another gutter.
I mean, slightly locked in is still locked in, isn't it? And
but only slightly.
But only slightly. That's so true. In a way, isn't this about getting back to where we came from by having the outside loo with the spiders and everything? And in a way, haven't we all learned that, that's where the little things are, the spiders, that's where they're living, and we're all living together.
Where is this
with
going?
the spiders? I've no idea. So for that reason, it feels to me like we're all coming round in the circle of life, and for that reason, I'm going to forgive.
Also, plus annoying your older sibling.
Oh, that's always good.